board. From my left to the members of the board are
Brian Fry.
Todd Foltz.
Anna Walrapp,
Aaron Murphy.
Share Powers.
and also in attendance this evening from legal, we have Susan Johnson-Velez. From Development Coordination, we have Stephen Eister and Lisa Middleton. And Elijah Green, and I'm sorry, it's not on my list here. Okay, so there's some procedural rules that we need to follow. When your case number and petitioner's name are called, please approach the podium. When you approach the podium, please state your name, address, and confirm that you have been sworn in. The petitioner or its agent will have 10 minutes to make a presentation. All other persons or participants wishing to speak will have 3 minutes. Then the petitioner will have an additional 5 minutes for rebuttal if necessary. The time periods as stated will be kept by the board. Any information such as pictures or plans that have not previously been submitted as part of the petition and that you intend to submit for consideration in support of your petition must be individually presented and accepted by the board. After acceptance by the board, you must submit the item to the staff for it to be entered and made part of that permanent record. The board bases its decision on competent and substantial evidence which is submitted and which meets the criteria required by the city's code of ordinances. Please be sure to clearly state your hardship criteria during your presentation. A majority of the board is needed to approve the variance. Variance granted by the board will be only for what is shown on the site plan and will be in compliance with any terms or conditions stated by the board. All other city codes will need to be met. If the case is approved, your variance will expire 2 years from the date of the decision. If your case is continued, it will either be continued to next month's VRB board meeting or the next available position in the upcoming agenda. If the case is denied, you may wish to have the variance review board's decision appealed by the city council. You must file a petition for review of the board's decision within 14 days of the board's written decision. You will not be able to pull a permit until the 14-day review period is passed. Your cooperation in ensuring that this meeting is run smoothly is greatly appreciated. Now, can I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes from the December meeting? And actually, the meeting notes say the November 12th hearing, and I think this is actually the December 10th hearing on the on our agenda. So if we, okay, that was the only correction that I saw.
Correct. This would be for the December hearing minutes, not for the November hearing.
Okay. Motion to approve the meeting minutes?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. It's approved. Mr. Eister, do you want to, we have to have everyone sworn in?
Oh. Madam Chair,
Yes,
if I may
ma'am.
just inquire if any members of the board have any conflicts of interest with respect to any items on the agenda this evening? Okay, all the board members have indicated in the negative. And then secondly, I would ask if any board members have had any ex parte communications with anyone with respect to any matter on the agenda this evening.
No, ma'am.
Right, let the record also reflect their board members have indicated no. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
For all those who wish to speak or to present this evening or to give public comment, please stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Good evening, board. The first case on tonight's agenda is VRB-24-37. The property owner is Tampa 47th Street Apartments, LLC. The applicant is Jacob Kramer. The property address is 5709 North 47th Street. The zoning is residential multifamily, RM24. There are 2 requests on this variance. Removal of grand trees for the affordable housing project, and then a reduction in parking from 261 parking spaces to 220 parking spaces. The code section in referenced are section 27284.2.5, permit for grand tree removal, and 27-283.7, which is for parking. So I broke this down into two presentations. We're gonna do the grand tree presentation first, followed by the parking reduction presentation. This is a map of the site. These are the trees in question. I'll let you guys take a count real quick. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 total.
Eight, not nine.
There's 8. One was lost in the storm. We'll cover that too later on in the presentation. So this is a mix of live oaks and laurel oaks, ranging from 34 inches to 47 inches, and of various quality, various conditions. These are some just overall photos of the site. It's a wooded site. As you guys can see, these were storm prior photos, so this is not post-storm. This is a survey of the site. As you can see, the little red dots are trees. And then here's kind of a clearer photo showing the grand trees. The green, the trees marked kind of highlighter green are being preserved and are of higher quality. And then yellow, et cetera, around the perimeter. This is a overlay for the alternative site plan 1, which shows a parking lot that goes around the perimeter of the site. This, sorry about that. So this is the proposed plan. The proposed plan preserves 3 A trees, 3 B trees, and 10 C trees, all grands. So there's a lot of grand trees on this site. This is alternative site plan 1, which converts the parking around the perimeter and the large affordable housing building in the middle. This preserves 2 A trees, 4 B trees, and 8 C trees. And then this is alternative site plan 2, which was, I think, their first proposed project. And this only preserves 1 A tree, 3 Bs, and 9 C trees. So these are the development review comments. Natural resources found it consistent with conditions. The site is removing 16 grand trees total, 9 of which require variance, which that has now been bumped to 8 due to storm damage. The developer is preserving 16 grand trees. At the time of construction, additional natural resources requests can be made. They are currently working with construction services on some of the parking and things like that to give these trees the best chance to be preserved. And then transportation found it consistent, wastewater found it consistent, water found it consistent, right-of-way, stormwater, and TECO all found it consistent. These are the standards of review for the grand tree removal process. And then next is their second request, which is a parking reduction request. This is tied to the preservation of the grand trees and the larger islands and the reconfiguration of the site. So they are reducing the parking down to kind of what Live Local calls out for affordable housing, which is 0.8 per parking space or per unit. Again, natural resources found it consistent with conditions. Transportation added additional verbiage for this consistent finding. The applicant has provided adequate justification letter for the requested parking reduction from 261 to 176. The proposed development includes 174 multifamily units designated as affordable housing, 80% AMI. Additionally, the preservation of grand trees on site supports the parking alignment with the Tampa Comprehensive Plan. And wastewater found it consistent, water found it consistent with conditions, right-of-way consistent, stormwater consistent, and TECO also found it consistent. And then this is the variance for 2780. And then 1-2, just for the transportation comment for the math, how it says 176 to 261. I know the reduction on the request says 261 to 220. The transportation comment did not account for the guest parking spaces. So that's where that difference is, from 261 to 220. Just to clarify that. And then here's the section for 2780. And then I'll be available for any comments or concerns. And I will get the okay.
Petitioner here.
Good evening, board members. My name is Nicole McKinnis. I'm a land use attorney at Stearns Weaver Miller in Tampa. My address is 401 East Jackson Street for the record. Here today representing Related Urban in connection with the variance request to remove grand trees and also to reduce the parking requirements. Staff did a great job with, oh, go ahead. Oh, yes, I've been sworn in. Thank you. Staff did a great job, so I'll go over quickly, kind of high level about the site. The site is outlined in the bright red border, has a largely is a rectangular site with a slight jog up to the north. The site's located at 4705 East Henry Avenue and 5709 North 47th Street. It is zoned RM24 and the future land use category is R35. The applicant is going to be developing 174 affordable housing units on this project. They are limiting those units to 80% of area median income and below. So as defined in statute, it is a low income and below housing. We're here today with a variance request to reduce the number of grand trees. Staff indicated that it was 8. Our request was for 9. I think there maybe is some confusion on one of the trees based on the type of tree it is. We are looking to reduce the number of trees and then also reduce the number of parking spaces. Again, as staff mentioned, we are reducing 85 spaces off of the spaces required for tenants. We are not seeking a reduction from the visitor parking that's required in code. Looking at our site plan, the site plan here shows our preferred site plan and that we would like to move forward. The site has 25 grand trees that are rated at C or better. This plan would allow us to preserve 16 of those trees and 9 would be removed. There are 3 A-rated trees, 3 B trees, and 10 C trees that would be preserved with this plan. This shows the trees that are seeking to be removed in addition to the trees that were removed by the hurricanes. The applicant, after the hurricanes, did thoughtfully try to redesign the site again based on the trees that were still available, so that we could preserve as many trees as possible. This is an alternative plan that we looked at to try and address and save as many trees as possible. With this plan, we would have only been able to preserve 14 trees instead of the 16 that we are preserving. In addition, the trees were not rated as well as our other plan. Same with this one. With this plan, we again tried to redesign the site to meet the RM24 requirements. This plan would have only preserved 13 trees instead of the 16 that we are proposing with our first plan. As you can see from some of the photos of the site, there is a heavy tree canopy on this property. There are over 300 trees, though only about 180 are rated for the city's purposes. They have designed this site to be able to preserve the tree canopy in the large open space area that's in the center of the site that's over the playground and dog park to again still give it the feel that there are a lot of trees on this property and maintain a lot of that integrity. Walking through the city's criteria for trees and the variance request, the practical difficulties on this site is truly just based on the number of trees that are on this site. There's 341 total, 183 that are counted towards mitigation, and this created significant design constraints with trying to develop the property based on the underlying RM24 zoning district. So the applicant did go through multiple iterations of site plans over a number of months to try and preserve as many grand trees as possible. This hardship is not due to the actions of the applicant. The site has never been developed, and because of the significant number of trees and the canopy, in order to develop the site in any capacity based on the underlying zoning, it required removal of some of these trees. This variance is not going to substantially interfere with the health, safety, or welfare of others. It's important after these hurricanes to remove the poorly rated trees, which can become very dangerous in the event of natural disasters. In addition, this variance is in harmony with the general intent of the code and comprehensive plan. The project is allowed to be developed for multifamily based on the underlying zoning requirements. We've gone through multiple designs to preserve as many trees as possible, especially in light of the hurricanes. And lastly, the variance does allow insubstantial justice to be done. This will allow for the development of affordable housing in the city of Tampa, and their applicant is retaining about 65% of the trees on the property, in addition to maintaining that large tree canopy in the center of the site. With respect to parking, again, in a very similar vein, because of the number of trees on the site and being able to develop using the underlying zoning requirements, there is a need for a parking reduction. As staff mentioned, the city has released Live Local guidance, and this is not a Live Local project. This is a regular affordable housing project. But the city's Live Local guidance was based on the parking ratio the city has historically approved for affordable housing projects. And the number that they released is that typically affordable housing has a 0.8 parking ratio per affordable unit. So for this project, we are looking to use that 0.8 ratio for the affordable units, which result in 176 parking spaces, and we have 174 units. So we're just a little bit over that parking ratio. So again, the hardship and practical difficulties on the site, there are a significant number of trees, and affordable housing, just by its nature, generates less parking than market rate housing, and that's based on the tenants who inhabit affordable housing versus a market rate project. The hardship is not due to the applicant. Again, affordable housing generates less parking than market rate does, in addition to the design constraints by just the voluminous number of trees that are on the property. This will not substantially interfere with the health or welfare of others in the community. The parking ratio is in harmony with code. It is consistent with the city's historic approvals of affordable housing parking ratios, which was recently reflected in the city's Live Local guidance. And the reduced parking request will allow the applicant to maintain more of the grand trees. There are several that are in the parking area, and so being able to reduce the required parking will allow us to keep more of the grand trees on the site. And last, this variance results in substantial justice being done. The approval will again allow for the development of 174 affordable housing units. These are just some aerial photos that you can see of the very dense tree canopy that is on the site. And then we'll see if we can get this to play. There's some drone videos. You can see just driving through the site. You see how wooded this is, which plays to the design constraints that we had when we were trying to design a project based on the underlying zoning. Nope. Drone going rogue. So with that, Natural Resources has found our request consistent with conditions, and all City of Tampa departments found our request consistent, and we respectfully request your approval of the application. And I'm here, and our applicant team is here. We have our arborist, our engineer architect, if you have any questions. Thank you.
Does that conclude your presentation?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone here to speak for or against?
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Eric Hayes. I'm representing my mom who owns the property that butts up to it. And the main thing I'm concerned about, yes, sir.
Your address?
Oh, 5521 North 48th Street.
And were you sworn in?
My mother's address that bumps up to the property, and she's elderly, retired.
Just confirm that you've been sworn in, sir.
Yes, sir, I've been sworn in.
Thank you so much.
And the main thing I'm concerned about is how it bumps up to the property, because there's a well that we have that furnishes the water for our home that bumps up to the property. And removing some of those trees could basically damage the well and everything else that's going on from the previous storms from the hurricane. There were problems from the other property that bumps up that the city owns, where Grand Oaks fell onto the property and damaged some things also. So we're just wanting some clarification on how everything is gonna go that bumps up to the property, and there's gonna be a buffer or fencing or something to, there won't be any more damage. That's all we're concerned about. Yes,
Thank you.
yeah, that's our main concern, and I would definitely like something set to the home, because, you know, we knew something was being built, but we didn't know to what extent. You know, so we're wanting some clarification if it's gonna infringe on our property and our property rights, because there is also a wall that bumps up to the back that the county or the city used to infringe or variance upon our property previously before. So
Thank you
we
very
would just
much.
like some clarification.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else here to speak for or against? Steve, is there some response that we can, assurance we can give this gentleman?
So, in response to the citizens' concerns, I did provide my email, so he could reach out to me after this hearing to clarify any other things about the project. And this project is not waiving any buffers or setback requirements. This is only for grand trees and the parking. As far as the construction process goes, that's a different story, but we're gonna put all of our regulations in place besides the two that are being currently requested.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any questions from the board?
Can we get some clarification on the actual numbers for the parking? I've heard 261 versus 305 for the total, and reduced to 220 versus 176.
Yep. Nicole, for the record. Yes, so that's based on originally when we submitted our variance request, we took out the number of visitor spaces because we're gonna meet code with that requirement. So the total number of spaces on the site that are required visitor and tenant is 305. And we are looking to provide a total of 220. 176 of that are for tenants, 44 of that is for visitors.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, you have a chance to rebuttal if you'd like some time. Anything else you want to add?
The only thing I will add, I'll flip back to the site plan, and I will speak to this gentleman after the meeting today. Looking at the site, you'll see along the perimeter of the property, the majority of the grand trees are being preserved. What's really being taken out are trees that are more internal to the site. Again, the developer will be responsible for any damage that may happen to a well or anything else on someone else's property during construction. But just looking at the site plan, we're not asking for any reductions in setbacks or buffers or anything like that. And the majority of the grand trees around the site are being maintained.
Great, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Nothing else, we can close the public hearing and hear from the board. I think this is an excellent use of a piece of property, and the fact that you guys are taking this much effort to preserve what you have, I think is honorable. And I like the fact that the parking is within the middle as opposed to the perimeter. I think it gives the whole site such a much better feel for the neighborhood than if you had parking around the outside. I'm not allowed to make a motion, but you guys certainly can.
Let's see. I've got tree down here somewhere. We'll be doing two separate motions. First one we'll do for the tree, the second one we'll do for the parking. And I move that the variance request for case VRB 24-37 for property located at 5709 North 47th Street be granted as depicted on the site plan presented at the public hearing for removal of a grand tree based upon the petitioner meeting the burden of proof with regard to the 6 factors determining tree removal as set forth in 27-284.2.5 T4 of the City Code for granting tree removal. Specifically, that the evidence provided in the record showed that they put together the 2 additional site plans that did not save as many grand trees as they are able to save here, and we greatly appreciate that.
A motion, we have a second.
Second.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed likewise? The motion passes. First.
I would also like to move that the variance request for case VRB 24-37 for property located at 5709 North 47th Street be granted as depicted on the site plan presented at the hearing for a reduction in parking from 305 parking spaces to 220 parking spaces based upon the applicant presenting competent and substantial evidence in the record and at this public hearing of an unnecessary hardship or practical difficulty when considering the 5 hardship criteria set forth in section 27-80 of the city code, specifically that to preserve the trees and also bring additional low-income, affordable housing to the city of Tampa, they needed to reduce the amount of parking to save the trees, and that upon research there is sufficient parking for this type of housing using the 80% reduction, or 20% reduction.
A motion or a second?
Second.
No further discussion. All in favor of the motion as stated signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Likewise opposed? Motion passes. That cleared out half the audience. Okay. Next case.
All right, good evening, everybody. The next case before you is VRB 2439. The property owner is Christopher R. and Jacqueline Olet. The property address is 3914 West Tacon Street. The zoning district is residential, single-family 60. And the request is to reduce the screen enclosure setback requirement from 5 feet to 3 feet. The reference code section is 27290. This is a map right here, and as you can see, the property is outlined in the red dashed lines. This is a site plan right here, and this is the reference request. The development review comments are as follows. Natural Resources finds it to be consistent with conditions. Transportation finds it to be consistent, as well as wastewater. Water has no comment as of December 31st, 2024. Right-of-way finds it consistent. Stormwater finds it consistent. And TICO finds it consistent with conditions. These are the standards for the Variance Review Board, and I'm available for any comments or questions from staff.
Okay. Is the petitioner here?
Good evening. My name is Jacqueline Ellett. My address is 3914 West Tacon Street, Tampa, Florida, 33629, and I have been sworn in. I had wanted to use the projector here because I did want to reference some photos during my presentation. Do I just set things on this? So, my husband and I bought this property in 2016, and the prior owners and the developer built this house along with the pool in 2013. And our hardship takes the form of this pool because what we would like to do is install a screen enclosure around it. And what we've learned was, during our research, is that this is a copy of the survey that we had done. You can see the exact water line of the pool is exactly 5 feet from this dark black line, which is the property line. And the screen enclosure setback requirement is 5 feet. So essentially, our screen would be right inside of the pool if we wanted to have it installed. Upon learning this, and before even beginning this project, I reached out to my neighbors who share that rear property line with me, Ben and Susan Stevens, and they've agreed that, you know, this isn't a big deal to them and that the variance requested will not substantially interfere with or injure the health, safety, or welfare of them or their property. So there's no problem there. From that point, I went on to worst case scenario, and I asked, well, what happens if this hearing doesn't go the way I would like it to go, and we have to actually move our pool? So this is the quote I received from Landscape Fusion, a local company, to demo the pool, move it in 12 inches so that we can go ahead and put the screen enclosure in. And it was $137,500, which is something we can't afford. So to add more clarity to our request, I've went ahead, this is the site plan for the proposed final structure.
Can you zoom out a little bit?
Zoom
On
out.
Elmo? There we go.
Yeah, so this is the backyard fence. This yellow line is the property line. This red dashed line is the proposed screen enclosure. And this blue line is the water line for the pool. And as you can see, there is still room to enter behind the screen and to repair or maintain the fence and the screen enclosure as needed. And I found this picture, photo 2, to be helpful. This is a toddler fence we had put up for our 3 kids, and when I went and measured exactly 2 feet back from this water line, which is essentially 3 feet back from the property line, this is where the proposed screen enclosure would sit on the edge of the pool. So it gives me some room on the inside and then some room behind it for the fence as well. But just as a visual reference, this is the placement of it on the pavers. Here's an aerial photo of where the proposed final structure for the screen enclosure would be. And then there are additional photos provided here of an overall map of where exactly it would look like in the back. As far as, let me get my outline here. We do believe that there's a hardship in this case because of the existence of the pool prior to us owning it. Our neighbors don't care. It's an expensive problem to fix. In addition, under the Tampa Comprehensive Plan, this request is in harmony with it, as there are personal property rights that have been recognized, and that one of them is under PR Policy 1.1.1. It says that the following rights shall be considered in local decision-making process, and that would be the right of a property owner to use, maintain, develop, and improve his or her property for personal use or for the use of any other person. So Florida law does require this board to at least consider the fact that we have a right to add a screen enclosure to our backyard. So at this time, that's the end of my presentation, and I just hope that I have answered any of your questions, and let me know if you need anything else.
That concludes your presentation?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Is there anyone here to speak for or against? If you'd like to add anything to your presentation at this point? Okay, then can close the hearing. I'm sorry? Yes, board questions. Dead silence. It's, yeah, we understand your dilemma.
Yeah, we see all these.
Yeah,
Can
I'd
I
like to give her
add just one thing?
Sure.
If the board is not comfortable providing 2 feet of setback, perhaps like 12 to 18 inches, just so that we don't have to move the pool. That's-
I would say this, we haven't asked any questions, so
Okay.
what you're asking for,
Okay.
none of us are arguing, so.
Okay, good, yeah.
would
I just want to be flexible. I'm
I would
flexible
stick with
here.
what you've asked for.
Okay.
move on. Okay, okay, we can close the public hearing and hear from the board. Ready to make a motion?
Hold on, I'll do it. Go for it. You got it?
I move that the variance request for VRB 24-39.
Can we,
For-
just for a second?
Sure. Oh, sure.
Can you clarify and like expand upon the rights that she's verifying, that she is requesting for us to?
You mean the reference to the comprehensive plan?
Correct.
So there is a section in, or an element of the comprehensive plan that does recognize private property rights, but it really recognizes, I think, kind of in the same vein of, you know, your variance considerations, where you're looking for considerations to make a reasonable use of your property. So not necessarily that you have a right to a pool enclosure or a right to anything on your property that doesn't, that causes you to have to request a variance, right? You have a right to do it if you meet the standards, but if you don't, then you have to come and seek this type of relief.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay,
Let me try again.
ready for motion?
Yes, I move that the variance request for case VRB 24-39 for the property located at 3914 West Tacon Street, is that correct?
Yes.
Be granted as depicted on the site plan presented at the public hearing for a screen enclosure setback requirement from 5 foot to 3 foot, based upon the applicant presenting competent and substantial evidence in the record, and at this public hearing of an unnecessary hardship or practical difficulty when considering the 5 hardship criteria set forth in section 27-80 of the city code, specifically that this pool existed prior to their purchasing the property, that the, most specifically that the neighbor abutting the property has no issue with this. Yep, there you have it.
Second.
Okay, all in favor of the motion as stated signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed likewise? Your motion passes.
Thank you so much.
The next case on the agenda is VRB 24-40. The owners are Kimberly and Caesar McCure. The applicant is also the owner. The property address is 3614 West North A Street. The zoning is residential single family, RS 50. Their request is to reduce the primary structure setbacks from 20 feet to 5 feet at the shortest point of the yard. The yard has an irregular trapezoid shape, making the measurements very difficult and very hard to build. Section 27-156, table 4-2, the standard setback for RS 50 is a 20-foot rear setback. This is the property in question, as you can see highlighted in the red dashed line. This is a survey of the or a site plan of the property. You can see the building addition is in the hatched corner on the right side. Let's see if I can. Right here, where the mouse is pointed. And these are the comments back. Natural resources found inconsistent with conditions. Transportation, wastewater, water, right-of-way, stormwater, and TECO, all found consistent or consistent with conditions. This is the criteria for the Variance Review Board under section 27-80. And I'm available for any questions or concerns.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Cesar Macuare. I'm the owner of 3614 West North A Street, Tampa, Florida. We
And-
buy,
And were you sworn in?
sorry?
Just state that you've been sworn, if you've been sworn in, please state that you've been sworn in, please.
You have not been sworn in yet?
No.
Okay. Go ahead and do that.
Sorry,
Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
yeah, sorry. Sorry, my English, good. My wife called me, but she's late. So we bought the house like 2018, and that was a 4-3 house, and the master bathroom, when we bought the house, don't have a toilet. So, and, don't have even area for build the toilet. So the people who did the remodelation for the house, they told us they can help us adding a bathroom for the master bedroom. They say they already have the permit, or they can do with the existing permit they have open. So they add next to the master bedroom, that's the area that you saw in the plan and the survey. They add the bathroom there. They did the structural, the blocks and everything. And when they was doing the construction, somebody from the city went and told us that we need a permit. So they didn't have it at the moment to the construction. So we asked, they told us we need a variance, and by that time we did a variance and the permit, and they approved it. So we keep building everything, the whole bathroom, but we never finalized the project or the bathroom. So now, of course, we want to have everything legal in papers, everything, the bathroom, actual bathroom for the house. And my wife contacted the city again. They asked the same thing again. We need a variance, even when we already have one, but I saw that one expired. So that's what we're doing right now. The setback, they asked for, our house, the thing is, the shape is very strange of the house, so that's why they asked for the variance, because they told us that we are too close to the neighbor, but our house is a block fence, and behind is an alley, so I don't think so we're not close to anybody, anything like that. This, maybe in the picture you can see the sunroof was already built when we bought the house. That's what it is, very close to the back wall. So pretty much what we want is to have everything legal with the bathroom itself.
Does that conclude your presentation?
Yeah,
Anything else you want to add?
that's it for now.
Okay. Is there anyone here to speak for or against? Not, we have questions from the board?
I have a question for staff. This is an interesting one. Looking at the site plan, the existing and the new, with the new building addition, it looks like the existing structure already has points of the structure that are at a closer setback than what's even being requested. Is this due to the fact that this has most likely gone through a variance process already? It was accepted per a specific site plan, now we're just adjusting the site plan?
That is correct. So any encroachments this is an odd lot too. When we look here, they're getting a 20-foot setback here, because this is considered their front. So this shifts their rear and other setbacks around. So that's why if you look here, everything is kind of adjusted. And that's what happened with this. The placement of the house plus the size of the lot has led to this situation. Yeah, because the encroachment, the most severe encroachment is from the existing house.
Correct, yes. It's 11.4 along the east side and 3.2 on the south side,
Correct.
whereas the addition's 14.6 and 11.6.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay,
What was it?
I'm sorry?
Are we asking questions of the petitioner?
Sure, still open.
Sir, can you approach? So you mentioned that there was a sunroom existing already there?
Yeah, I think what he already pointed, the corner of the house that's very close to the fence at the back. Like I said, I don't know where the front of the house is, but the south fence, yeah, the corner in the south fence is very close. That was a existing sunroof. I mean, that one have a AC and everything inside, so that was already existing when we bought the house. That one was already there, yeah.
Did you put a new roof on? Did you take the sunroom off and put a new roof, or you just build underneath the sunroom?
And for the bathroom? Or
Yes.
For the bathroom, yeah, the bathroom was a new addition.
Where the sunroom used to be?
No, the sunroof is there. I mean, we didn't touch the sunroof. We just
Okay.
add the bathroom next to it. It's that one with the little lines there, a lot of, on the left of the. So but the sunroom was already there with the AC even included.
And so you did the addition, it turned out that you did not have permits to do the addition?
When we start, because the people who did the renovation before us, before we buy the house, they told us we can do it. Or they can help us because they already have a permit for the area for flipping or for remodeling the house, something like that. So when the city went, they didn't really have anything. So, but the city asked for variance and for permit, and we solicited by that time, and they approved. I mean, when we did all the process. What we didn't do is finalize everything. I mean, we didn't know about how that worked. So we didn't finalize the process there. But we already have the variance approved before and everything like that, the permit for that bathroom.
I'm totally, so,
It sounds like we had a renovation
so
permit.
so the bathroom is complete,
Yes, sir.
okay? And you're saying you had a variance to put the bathroom in?
The variance, I mean, we asked the variance after we start with the bathroom.
You asked for it after, so this is clearly an after-the-fact request, right? You,
She's my wife, I'm
yeah, I
sorry.
know, but she needs to be sworn in, so we're
Sorry.
gonna have to swear her in and
Sorry.
all of that stuff before we move for, if she's gonna speak.
Yeah, she can help me with the, go ahead.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
So you bought the home with the intention to add the bathroom. The contractor's doing the flip, this is a flipped home.
Yes.
The contractor doing the flip said, oh, no problem. We can do that for you.
Yes.
You had the assumption that this person had a permit, because permits do not, permits don't encompass an entire neighborhood or other projects. It's project specific, right?
Yeah.
So a variance and a permit are two different things, right? So you're saying a variance existed prior for what?
So when we bought this house, the person who flipped it had hired contractors to do the work. And to do some of that work, they had asked for a variance and for a permit in order to do the changes that they had made to the house. And because the master bath didn't have a toilet, and because of the weird shape of the lot, there weren't a lot of places to go with it. And what they suggested was actually at level with the other things they had done. Then, of course, our naivete in believing that when they said that the permit that they had to do the work that they already had done would also cover adding that extra bathroom on. So they built the shell of it, like a concrete block structure, and someone came out to inspect. And they're like, oh, this is not permitted. I'm like, oh, shit, okay. Sorry, pardon my language. And of course, we're like, okay, well, we don't want to do that. And so we stopped, and we applied for the variance, and we were granted a variance so that we could go ahead and finish that bathroom. And with that, we did finish the bathroom, but unfortunately, my husband hadn't called for the final inspections on that structure. And so after COVID, after everything, we're retaking up this again. And so now, of course, we're back to square one of having to ask for the variance.
The variance expires after 2 years,
Yeah,
correct, staff?
exactly.
Gotcha.
So is there a variance existing for, that was previously requested?
There,
Because again, a
there-
variance and a permit are different.
yes,
things.
there had been a variance and a permit previously.
So variances are, they do have a duration, you have to,
Junior, right?
right. So if the permit wasn't closed out and the variance is now expired, permitting can't finalize and close out the
But it has to
permit.
start all over again.
Yes.
Correct.
So they have to pull it, so you have to.
Well, no, I don't think they have to pull a new permit,
But
but
they
in
do
order
if
to
this
close
addition
out.
wasn't included in the other permit, correct?
We did, so after we were granted the variance, we
Pulled the
did
permit.
finish the bathroom with a permit, like we asked for a permit, received a permit. Somebody did the work, but it was never closed. That was what happened. The permit never got closed out. And so when we retook it up, I thought it would be as simple as closing it out at that point, and it wasn't. They're like, oh, the variance only lasts for 2 years, and so that's why we're back here kind of at square one.
Stephen, did you want to add? Oh, no, I didn't know if you were going to add anything.
This is included in your packet. This is their application with hardship criteria. So you guys will have the reference for the VRB 1905, which is the previous variance that's being discussed.
But,
Okay,
okay,
thank you.
Perfect.
right.
Okay.
So-
And would you mind stating your name, address that you've been sworn in?
Yes, my name is Kimberly McQuarrie, and my address is 3614 West North A Street, Tampa, 33609.
You have been sworn in.
Yes.
So, right, this is a prerequisite to then getting the permit closed out, because there's nothing that says they have permission to be in this setback area currently.
Right,
Right.
it has to be.
Because the variance expired.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Any other questions from the board?
Not confused anymore.
I apologize for my tardiness. He did a great job explaining, really, he did. Thank you. Okay, close the public hearing.
She had a response.
Oh.
Rebuttal?
Do you want a rebuttal? You have some time to add anything to your presentation if you like.
No, I mean, the only thing I would add is that, you know, we just want to do things properly, and that's why when the person came out to inspect that concrete structure and said that we were in violation, like, we stopped immediately and we sought that first variance so that we could then do the construction. And yeah, I wish that it had been closed, but, yeah, it was not closed.
Okay. So, close the public hearing and hear from the board?
Yeah, I think this is a pretty good case. So they tried to do the right thing.
Most definitely.
They
That
didn't
lot
do-
is kind of weird
Yeah.
shaped and,
There had to be a variance to build the building originally.
yes, so, want to make a motion?
Sure. File sheet here. All right, I move for a variance request for case VRB 24-40 for property located at 3614 West North A Street to be granted as depicted on the site plan presented at the public hearing for a reduction in the for the reduction in the setback from 20 feet to 5 feet, and the shortest point yard has a regular trapezoid shape and makes measurement vary at different points. Based upon the applicant presenting competent and substantial evidence in the record, the public hearing of an unnecessary hardship or practical difficulty. When considering the 5 hardship criteria set forth in section 27-80 of the city code, specifically that it's a very irregular shaped lot, they are not infringing more on the setbacks than they originally were, and this is really just a re-granting of a variance that was granted in 2019, so makes it very easy.
Second.
Yes. Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor of the motion as stated signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed likewise?
Thank you very much.
Case passed.
Thank you, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Go get your permit.
Oh, okay. Well, we still have a quorum.
Should we take a short recess?
No, we have a quorum.
We'll leave it up to the applicant. Do you want to wait? 5 minutes for the board member to return.
Yeah, the problem is it will be.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know that 5 minutes is gonna be enough if his car was hit, so.
We'll give recess. We'll give 5 minutes. If he's not
We have
back,
5 minutes,
we'll
yeah.
proceed.
Yeah, I'll go get some water.
We'd have to give the applicant the opportunity to continue to the next step.
Understood.
The owner is Mr. Patel. The applicant is Steve Michelini. The property address is 2920 West Bay Court. The zoning is residential single family, RS 60. This is to reestablish a side yard setback on the west side from 7 feet to 2 feet. That was approved in 2020. So there was a variance already on this site. The variance was to add a second floor to the existing garage. The code section of reference is 27156, and then the previous action is VRB-20-59. And then that letter has been added in your packet as well. This is a map of the site. This is the current layout of the house. I included both the site plan and the side profile. The garage is located here and is connected to the main structure. And then they'll be adding a second structure, or a second floor to tie it together. This is a close-up of that section showing the 2 foot. And then these are the comments from the reviewers. Natural Resources found it consistent with conditions, basically stating that both buildings are already existing. The variance would be to add the second floor. Transportation found it consistent with conditions and saying that the driveway will have to meet transportation technical standards. Wastewater, water, right-of-way, stormwater, and TECO all found it either consistent or had no comment. This is the standard for the Variance Review Board, section 2780, and then I'll be available for any comments or questions.
Good evening, Board. Steve Michelini. I've been sworn, and I'm here representing Dr. Patel, living at 2920 West Bay Court. Mine is 2407 Sunset Drive, Tampa, Florida 33629. Let me walk you through the, pardon? Yes, I was sworn. The site plan first. The site, first of all, is it's only 50 feet wide and it's zoned RS 60. So we're already starting off at a disadvantage. It's also on a corner, which applies additional setback criteria. Our request does not affect that. At the rear, I mean, normally that setback on a corner is designed to protect the view triangle across rights of way. In this case, it's at the very end of the property. These setbacks are already existing, and I've highlighted them in yellow. We had to slide the building over for this 40-inch oak, and we've been working with the tree and landscaping department to make sure that there were no conflicts. It also restricts us on the ability to provide any additional square footage for the home because of that one, and because of this off-site 24-inch oak, which has an extremely large limb span that goes over into this property. This is a little closer detail showing the extent of the impact of those true trees on the main structure and also on the existing garage. And there's a close-up showing you basically the 3 feet here of the setback and the 2 feet over here that already exist on the garage apartment. This is a picture of the existing house. And this is the existing garage. Dr. Patel has provided a letter which I believe you have a copy of it. I'll read it into the record. My name is Bhavin Patidar, and I live at 2920 West Bay Court. On November 19th, 2020, our request for variance was approved to add a 2-story detached garage. The variance was valid for 2 years, and during this time, most of the country was on lockdown from COVID. I, as a medical doctor at the time, my children were age 2 and 4, both high risk to COVID infections. Because I was deemed an essential worker during COVID, I was exposed to patients at high risk before COVID. As a result, I was living away from my family home during the weeks, and I had to work. I had to put hold on construction until the pandemic was over, and I did not want to, for my 2 children at high risk to be exposed. The pandemic is now over, and my family and I are respectfully requesting a reinstatement of the original variance, and you have that in your package. With respect to the variance itself, as I said, we are constrained by the size of the lot, the location of the existing structures, adding a second floor, and the first floor is already connected to the main structure. So this will revest the existing setbacks for a main structure setback, and it will allow the addition of a second floor. The property seeks to add the second floor addition at the same setbacks as the existing garage, and it does not create an additional hardship or adverse condition for any other property owner. The reduction in the setbacks already exists. The property is unique in that it is non-conforming in size. It has 10 feet less than the zoning lot that it lies in, and the corner setbacks add to an additional hardship. The hardship and practical difficulties were not part of something that the owner created, and it's not a self-inflicted hardship. The variance, if granted, will not substantially interfere or injure the rights, health, safety, or welfare of others, and it would not be affected. The variance, if allowed, would not affect others. The variance is in harmony and serves the general intent and purposes of this chapter in the adopted Tampa Comprehensive Plan. The proposal is in harmony as the hardships were not self-created, and we're simply asking to reinstate a variance that was previously granted. Allowing the variance will be in the general substantial justice will be done. As I said earlier, the COVID was not something of his making. The fact that he was a medical doctor and constrained by those medical constraints as well as the safety of his children, the general intent would provide justice for him and for his family. I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have. I believe that we have demonstrated that we meet the criteria. The variance that was previously granted, we're respectfully requesting for it to be reinstated and for a new variance to be granted so that he can get on with his work. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Does that conclude your presentation?
Concludes my presentation.
Is there anyone here to speak for or against? I'm sorry, yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to clarify, so there's no process to reinstate a variance. I know I've heard it a couple of times, so I just wanted to clarify for the board. If you find that their hardship criteria and other criteria to grant a variance have been met, then you can grant the variance anew, but you can't reinstate a variance that has previously expired, similar to the prior case. You're welcome.
Questions from the board?
I don't have anything to add.
Okay. Okay, seeing none, we can close the public hearing and hear from the board.
I'll make a motion. I move that the variance request for case VRB 24-46 for the property located at 2920 West Bay Court Ave be granted as depicted on the site plan presented at the public hearing for a reduction in the west side setback from 7 feet to 2 feet. Based upon the applicant presenting competent and substantial evidence in the record and at this public hearing of an unnecessary hardship or practical difficulty when considering the 5 hardship criteria set forth in section 27-80 of the city code, specifically that this is an existing home that already has a single-story garage structure. They are looking to keep the exact same existing setbacks, but add the second story to the garage area. This does not pose any health or safety concerns to the neighborhood. And it's a corner lot, so the setbacks are a little substantial for the corner lots anyways.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay.
I have a
All those in
question.
favor-
Did we notice for the rear as well?
I don't see anything that mentions anything.
I don't have it in your application.
We were granted a design exception on the side, and I guess my question relates to, we need to,
Do we need to also call it the west side slash rear? I mean, you're moving from 7 to 2 feet just in that one, along that one property line.
Well,
I don't see a north arrow on the site plan, but I'm assuming that would be the west side.
west and south.
One second as staff clarifies.
Technically, they oriented them north, but
Well, if it wasn't noticed that in any other way,
Yeah,
then
you can't.
no, we can't do anything with it.
you can only grant variances that were noticed properly. If there's,
That's where we're checking to see. It's in here, 7 to 2 and 20 to 3.
So it looks like the side setback was all that was noticed.
Come back and renotice. So if we could go forward with the side, and then I guess we'll have to renotice for the rear.
Are you, I mean, now looking at all of this, it looks like the site plan was oriented correctly. The side is also 2 for the site plan?
Side is 3 and 2. There's the site plan.
Okay, so the side does go to 2. Okay, then yeah, I guess we could do just this one, and then you'd have to come back for the south side.
Should we perhaps continue this case and
gonna ask that.
renotice for the additional setbacks? That's up to staff.
well, is that part of your request? Is it part of the request, Stephen, from the, in the application, or does the request need to be modified?
Yeah.
So, to address legal's question, it would be both, the request would need to be added, and then noticing would need to be redone. So it'd be both parts.
Okay, would the applicant like to proceed with having this variance for just the west side now and then come back for the south side, or would you like us to continue and then come back for both?
And modify,
Would you prefer continuing the case and let me
Yeah,
amend it?
Staff would recommend doing a continuance, so then we can include both things under one
Properly noticed.
variance request.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, then I will.
Thank you, sorry for the trouble.
I will withdraw my motion, and I guess I need to reopen the public hearing.
respectfully request a continuance so we can amend our application.
So we make a motion to continue.
I move to open the public hearing so that we can hear the request from the candidate.
Second.
I think we could get it all done and request for a March hearing, which would give us till February to renotice.
Okay. The
March
March
11th?
What would the date be?
Let's see.
I think it's March 11th.
Yep.
Okay.
Sure you want to do it?
Yeah. I move that VRB case 24-46 be continued until the March 11th, 2025 VRB hearing at 5:30 PM.
Thank you very much, board.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. See you back in March.
Also, I want to wish the chair a happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
I think we kind of missed that a little bit, but
Yeah, it was yesterday. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
It was.
Happy belated.
Get out.
I swear.
Happy belated birthday.
Oh my gosh.
Good job. Oh, it's a party.
The next agenda on the case is VRB-24-56. The owner is Andrei Gurkov and Anara Alamov. The applicant is Buffy Stoshorsky. The property address is 2510 West Tennessee Avenue. The zoning is residential multifamily, RM16. The request is to reduce the setback from, would be 11 feet 5 inches if the setback is granted, to add a second story architectural feature to the front of the building. So traditionally, the setback is 25 feet. They're requesting to go to 11 feet 5 inches to simplify that. The code section they're referencing is 27-159, permitted projections into required yards. The design offers a 3-foot non-livable architectural feature which encroaches into the setback. So typically this is allowed by code, but because this site received a variance, VRB-22-43, which reduced the front setback from 25 feet to 14 feet 5 inches, it makes them ineligible to use the 3-foot projection. So that's why this case is in front of you this evening. So they have to request an additional setback from 25 feet to 11 feet 5 inches to accommodate that architectural feature.
And hopefully the information we're gonna see is gonna make this a little clearer.
Yes. So this is a outline of the site. So this is the approved site plan from VRB-22-43. As you can see here, they're adding a 3-foot architectural feature to the front of this building. And with this architectural feature, because they've obtained a variance previously, they need to reduce this front setback once again. They don't get that automatic relief from the code. If this was set back at 25 feet, by code, they'd be permitted to project 3 feet into the setback. But because this setback has already been reduced to 14 feet 5 inches, that is no longer an option for them without this additional variance. Hopefully I tried to clarify. It's kind of a weird nuance in the code. But if you guys have any follow-up questions, I'm available.
Okay, thank you.
Natural resources found it consistent with conditions. The setback variance is not within the tree protection zones. transportation found it consistent, wastewater found it consistent. Right-of-way found it inconsistent because this project is tied to a final plat. That would need to be updated with them to address any HOA property or easement if the variance is granted. Stormwater found it consistent, and TECO had no comment. Let's see if I have any additional information. And that is it. And then, let's switch over so we can kind of zoom in. Just to kind of clarify this request a little bit more. So, the current property line is right here. This is the setback that was granted to the previous variance. This hash line here is the 3-foot overhang for the architectural feature that reduces the front setback now to the requested setback that's in front of you today. And then this is non-livable space, this area here. It can only be used for architectural features.
Would that be like an eave?
Yeah, like an eave. This has like almost a large, like vertical wood display feature with a glass front. I believe the applicant has renderings of that as well to show.
Okay, is the applicant ready?
Good evening, my name is Hazem Habib. Address is 8341 Torrington Avenue. I'll be representing the owners, Andrei Jernkov and Inara Almova, and I've sworn in. I do have a flash drive I would like to use. Should be the one that says final. Yeah, yeah, this one. So, project location is in 2510 West Tennessee Avenue. And owners are Jernkov and Alamova.
Real quick,
Yeah.
you have the agent authorization form to present?
I do not have that, no. So the applicant, Buffy, could not make it. She had a medical emergency with her husband, so I'll be representing her as well. But yeah.
Do you work for the company?
Correct, yes. So I was involved in the design for this project.
Buffy's agent form also includes the company name.
Yeah. So yeah, company name is Hawthorne Bichette. Architects office located in 715 North Franklin Street. So this is a map of the site. It's near Bayfront Drive here, and to kind of clarify, we're requesting variance to allow the 3-foot overhang over the setback that was previously approved, and so the architectural features includes and not limited to cornices and balconies and whatnot. So our overhang consists of this balcony, and it's integral to the design, and it was from the start. So the previous variance approval for reduction in setback was due to the owner's desire to save the existing grand trees, which was granted in May 2022. And this variance request is specifically to address the projection of the architectural feature and balcony into the previously approved front setback. So this rendering kind of shows this 3-foot projection. It only consists of the balconies on level 2 and level 3, and it's not, it's non-habitable, and it's not walkable. So it's only, you know, a major kind of design feature of the character of the house. So this is more images of the existing residence, and we are just adding to a duplex right by it. So there's another kind of rendering that kind of displays the importance to this feature. It's integral to the architectural character of the house. This kind of this large shadow box design enhances the aesthetic appeal, making the home unique and cohesive in its style. It adds depth and interest to the facade, moving away from flat, you know, uninspired look that might detract from the neighborhood's visual quality. This 3-foot projection does not negatively impact the neighbor's sightlines or privacy, since it's only kind of accessible from these balconies that you see in this rendering, facing the street, facing Tennessee Avenue. The overhang is entirely within our property line. It does not interfere with public rights of ways or utilities. And approving that variance allows kind of for high quality architecture in the area, increases the aesthetic standard, and potentially raising property values for the neighborhood. If the design aligns, and as I mentioned before, kind of this really depends on this overhang and its projection. And yeah, if you have any more questions, please let me know. And just to kind of show a little bit further, this shows kind of an overall site plan, highlighting where the existing residence is and where we have kind of the main addition here. So here you can kind of see where the line of the shadow box above is. We're not kind of encroaching on the setback on the first level. It's just on the second and third level, and it's just a major architectural feature that kind of represents the uniqueness of our house and kind of represents the overall design and aesthetic of it. So you can kind of also see here the balcony on the second floor highlighted in red. You can see that the rest of this projection is not, it's not habitable. And it doesn't encroach on everybody's privacy. So this is also kind of a third, this is the second floor and the third floor as well. So, and this elevation from Tennessee Avenue, it's the front main elevation, and you could also see where kind of this projection is mainly kind of used, and the rest of this feature that we have is kind of such an integral part of the overall design. And yeah, this concludes my presentation.
Is there anyone here to speak for or against? Rebuttal? We have questions from the board?
Yeah, I've got some questions.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at the site plans, it looks like the architectural feature runs parallel with Tennessee Avenue, but also encompasses the east side of the building along just the side lot line. The request is to reduce the A setback from 14.3 to 11.3. Are you only needing the reduction in setback on the front of the building, or are you also needing a reduction in setback from the side of the building?
So it's only the front, but we don't want to reduce the setback. We just want to have that 3-foot overhang that is naturally in the code, just to be applied to this. So we don't want an overall setback to 11.4. We just want to keep the setback as is, but have that 3-foot overhang that is, usually allowed.
Okay, and for staff, for the wording of that, are we still going to call it a reduction in setback, or are we going to call it allowance of the 3-foot architectural feature?
So it would still be a reduction in setback, but you could clarify as like a conditional approval that the additional 3 feet can only be used for architectural features.
Okay.
Wait a second. Is this a request to reduce just the front or the side as well?
Just the front. Just the front.
So the side portion of it is already fine, it meets code.
Yeah, the side is fine.
So,
yeah.
okay, so the side architectural feature is fine, the front is what needs the reduction.
Correct.
And there was no prior reduction to the side?
That is correct.
Okay.
And there's nothing on the ground floor it's just an overhang over that space.
Correct, just the second and third floor, yes.
And additional question for staff, when we are talking about this for some sort of motion, are we going to condition it, or is the condition that per the provided site plan be sufficient?
It's gonna be almost a two-part motion, where you allow the front setback from 25 to 11, let's see, 25 to 14 foot 5 inches.
Right.
That would be part one, and then an additional 3 feet for architectural features, bringing the front setback to 11 foot 5 inches.
Okay. I've got 11 foot 3 inches on my notes here, but
The request is to 11 foot
to 11
5
foot
inches.
5.
Well, it says 11.3.
Here, so it's 11.5 here. Okay.
Okay.
Would the applicant like to confirm that it is 11 foot 5 inches versus 11 foot 3 inches? I would hate to see you back here for 2 inches.
Yeah, double check here. So currently it's shown as, from the property line, it's currently at 14 foot 6. So, it'll be 11 foot 6.
What,
11
3
feet 6
feet.
inches or 11.5 feet. Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
How is that noticed? Is that a problem?
I was gonna just
No, it
ask
says
that.
5 feet, it's 5.
So the
No, I
request,
understand, but
yeah, so the request was to go to 11 foot 5 inches. So that's what would have to be,
And how was it noticed?
as 11 foot 5 inches on the notice documents.
Yeah, okay.
Which gives them 1 inch of leeway.
Correct.
All right.
We'll take it.
So.
Thank you for the clarification.
Thank you. Susan, just for my own clarification, so we don't need to worry about the right-of-way inconsistency, right? With the HOA, the HOA has to approve this? Like, we can approve the variance, but then the HOA has to give a final approval for them to do it.
You'll have to update the plat to
Correct. They would
allow
have
that
to,
use.
they would, the owner, which is actually still the HOA manager on
Yeah.
this application, would have to go through and update the final plat to reflect what has been changed. Because currently that 3 feet is considered HOA property.
Correct.
And then when they do that, if this is granted, that would have to be updated.
Gotcha.
okay, anything else?
Any other questions?
Rebuttal? Okay, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and hear from the board.
Fun one. I'll give it a swing, but if legal hears something in portion of this they would like, just throw a hand up and we'll get it corrected for you. All right, I'd like to move that the variance request for case VRB 24-56 for property located at 2510 West Tennessee Avenue be granted as depicted on the site plan presented at the public hearing for a reduction in setback from 25 feet to 14.3 feet with the allowance of an additional 3 feet for accessory or architectural uninhabited overhang.
Second.
Hold on, based upon the
Oh,
applicant
sorry. I
presenting,
just thought that was so good.
based upon the presenting the competent substantial evidence in the record and at this public hearing of an unnecessary hardship or practical difficulty considering the 5 hardship criteria set forth in 27-80 of the city code, specifically that this is a newly platted subdivision that had already gotten a little bit of leeway for the building itself, but once that happens, they are not able to utilize the 3 feet of architectural space. And this request does not have any safety or concerns for the neighboring properties, and it will still have to go through all of the final permitting and code before going into construction.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion, call a question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise? Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
next item on the agenda is VRB-25-03. The owner is Jeffrey and Melissa Bogner. The property address is 3314 West Corona Street. The zoning is residential single family, RS60. The request is to reduce the rear yard setback from 20 feet to 10 feet and reduce the east side setback from 7 feet to 4 feet. This is section 27-156. This is a highlight of the property. So this is the existing conditions of the property. The reason for the request is this connective portion right here. Now that this structure is connected to the detached structure, it has to meet principal structure setbacks. The garage currently sits 10 feet off the rear property and 3 feet off the east side. So natural resources found it consistent with conditions. This is an addition between two existing structures. No trees are present within the work area. Transportation found it consistent with conditions. Wastewater, water, right-of-way, stormwater. TECO did have some last-minute conditions. Due to utility lines in the rear, if anything ever happens to the structure, it will not be able to be constructed back due to the power line clearances. This is the standard for the variance under section 2780. And I'll be available for any questions.
Thank you, sir. The applicant come forward, please.
My name is Jeff Bogner. I reside at 3314 West Corona Street, Tampa, and I was sworn in. So just an introduction to the request. We are requesting that the east side and rear setbacks be changed for the primary structure of our existing detached garage. This will, as Stephen said, this will make the detached structure part of our primary residence, which is why we're here today for the request. The variance we're requesting is the minimal distance possible since the structure is already existing. We're not building that. This is a unique hardship to our situation. When we purchased the house, the detached two-story structure was already there. It was built 40 years ago or longer. I'm not sure when, but sometime in the 70s it was built. And in order for us to attach it, we do need the variance. If the variance would not be approved, then it poses a significant hardship to us as we'd have to tear this structure down in order to move it over 6 feet and pull it forward 10 feet. This would add very high unnecessary waste to the environment and pose a large financial hardship to our family that would be difficult to do. We find that since the structure is already existing, by connecting the structure to add it as our primary residence, that shouldn't have any negative impact on the public health and safety of the public. It also will not obstruct any neighbor's current view since the structure is already there, and we are wanting to attach it at a first level, so we're not going to be adding to the second level attachment. It will be an attachment from the primary structure, from the first floor of the house. So zoom this out so you guys can see. So this is a current view of the house from the street view. So as you're facing the house from the street looking at it, you can hardly even see the detached structure back there, and when we attach it, the view from the street will remain the same because, again, we're attaching it as a first floor attachment only, not all the way up to the second floor. So, to just touch base on TECO's concerns about the rear setback with the power lines, this is a side view and kind of back view of where those power lines are. We won't be adding to the back of the structure, so the distance that the power lines are there today, it'll be the same, so that won't change. So, because we're going to be attaching the front of the structure, of the detached structure, to the back of the primary structure. This hardship was not self-imposed, as when we purchased the house in 2015, the structure was already in place and had been for quite a while. So it's not a self-imposed. I do feel that this is substantially just and a fair request because, again, we're wanting to attach what's existing. We're not asking to build something new, and requesting the variance for that. It's to attach what's already there. This is the only way for us to add an attached garage and add the living space for our growing family. I also feel that this request will improve value to our neighborhood, and it'll also allow us to remove these exterior industrial stairs. So this is a view of the side of that structure. So these industrial looking stairs do not fit our neighborhood's aesthetic. And so by attaching the house, we will be rebuilding the stairs inside the detached structure. So these exterior stairs will be getting removed, which again will go more and coincide with more with what the neighborhood aesthetic looks like. So. I do find that this is within harmony within the community. In order, for us to be able to do this and avoid a tear down situation, this is allowing us to preserve and improve a quality home that's been in the area for 75 years. It allows our neighborhood to continue to have historical home remain. We've been there for about 10 years and we've just seen a vast change in our neighborhood with tear downs and buildups of two-story stucco structures that don't necessarily fit the aesthetics of the neighborhood. And so this will allow us to preserve something that's been there for 75 years. And we've had overwhelming neighborhood support, so I'll give Stephen these to put in record, but these are a list of addresses. These are a list of addresses. And these are our closest proximity neighbors that live on Corona Street and which is the street that we live on, plus Sevilla, which is the street behind us, which is where the most impacted by the variance request. So this one is from our neighbor that is directly to the side of us on the west side, so she would be facing those exterior stairs that come down. So Penny Parks has given us her full support in the matter of getting the variance request. This one is from Joyce Smith, who lives directly across the street from us on Corona Street, who would have the most impacted view from the frontal view of attaching it, and she again has given us her full support. And then just have to keep adding letters. This is just an attestation where I reviewed basically what I reviewed with everybody here tonight, and everybody's acknowledgement and support in the matter. And these are all the neighbors that live basically on all sides of us on Corona Street.
Would you like to pass those on and include
Yes,
them in
and
the
these are,
record?
you can keep, this is for the record, so all these photos, so I have copies, so you can have all those. And I would just like to thank you for your consideration for this, and that concludes my presentation.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone here to speak for or against? Questions from the board?
I was gonna say, so the existing structure was built in 1950.
The primary home was built in 1950. The detached structure was added on after that. And at the time, I don't know, but it was from my understanding, it was sometime in the late 70s, early 80s.
Gotcha. And what's the square footage of the existing or
Of the
original
detached
structure?
Of the primary structure, it's 2,200 square feet.
Okay, that's like 3-bedroom, 2-bath.
It's 4-bedroom. The 1 bedroom is very small. All the bedrooms are very small, but yeah. So it's 4-bedroom, 2-bath.
Much like a 1950s house.
Built, yeah.
Okay.
So on this picture here, you're saying this is all getting removed, right?
Yep.
And is it's probably hard to see, is the attachment in here?
Yep, so I have another photo I'll put, I wasn't sure I'd need these, I wasn't sure what questions you guys would have, so let me show.
There's my questions coming.
Okay. This might help clear it up too. So this space is between the primary house and the garage, and so this area, basically right from here to here, and then from here to here. So this basically this area is what we were wanting to attach.
Okay.
Yep.
So my question is, if you remove those stairs and you're only attaching the bottom portion of the home to the bottom portion of the garage, how do you access upstairs?
So we're gonna be building right here is a finished part, like this is not part of the garage, it's finished, like that is a finished room.
Uh-huh.
So we will be adding stairs, I mean, we'll be
Inside?
pulling permits, but we will be adding stairs inside the home, yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. And to clarify that picture that you have, I don't have it now, we'll be removing these stairs, but the architect does have plans of keeping the deck up here.
Okay.
We'll be rebuilding it, but, so there won't be stairs, but there will be a two-story deck, basically, so.
Did you want to submit those
Yeah,
pictures into the
I
record?
wasn't, like I said, I wasn't sure I'd use, I wanted to have them in case I needed them, so, thank you.
I think your picture just answered my question, but it is currently separated from the main structure. It's not, there is a space between them and.
Yeah, so the picture that, you can see like part of it is a flower bed, part of it is a cement patio. That is not connected, so, I mean, it's like a walkway.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. Any further questions? We've got rebuttal time, I think. Okay.
I'm good, yeah, thank you.
All right, then we'll close the public hearing and hear from the board.
So if when we grant this variance, if they decide they want to knock all the houses down, they have to come back in.
They would, yes.
For site plan, right?
Yep.
And Tico is gonna tell them they're not allowed to put it in that same spot.
Right, so.
That's why Tico doesn't have a problem with this.
It's already there.
Yeah, it's already there.
All right. I'll move for the variance request of case VRB 25-03 for property located at 3314 West Corona Street be granted as depicted on the site plan presented at the public hearing for a reduction in the rear setback from 20 feet to 10 feet and a reduction in the east side setback from 17 to 4 feet. I'm sorry, for 7 feet to 4 feet. Based upon the applicant presenting competent and competent and substantial evidence in the record for this public hearing of an unnecessary hardship and practical difficulty when considering the 5 hardship criteria set forth in 27-80 the city code, specifically that this is an existing structure and it is already granted in the, it's been there for a very long time, and connecting them does not propose any hardship on the neighbors.
Motion, we have a second?
Second.
Call a question. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, likewise? Passes.
Thank you.
All right, the last case before us is VRB 2504. The owners Nirav and Priya Pate. The property address is 906 West Plymouth Street. The zoning is residential, single family 50. The request is to reduce the pool screen setbacks to the east from 5 feet to 3.3 feet, from the west to the west from 5 feet to 4.9 feet, and to the south from 5 feet to 4.5 feet. And the code section in reference is section 27 to 90.5. This is a map of the property outline right here. This is a site plan. This is the proposed setback areas right here in blue. The development review comments are as follows. Natural Resources finds it to be consistent with conditions stating the screen enclosure is planned to be installed over the existing pool deck area During the permitting process, a pruning assessment may be required to evaluate and address any potential canopy conflicts. This assessment should follow ANSI A300 Part 1 pruning standards to ensure that any necessary pruning is performed correctly, maintaining the health and structure of the tree canopy. Transportation finds it to be consistent. Wastewater finds it to be consistent. Water has no comment as of January 2nd, 2025. Right-of-way finds it to be consistent, and stormwater finds it to be consistent with conditions, stating the property seems to have more than 50% of impervious area. If that is the case, it requires to comply with the stormwater technical manual for the construction of a retention pond. Please calculate the percentage of the ground covered area to determine if a pond is required. If required, please submit plans for review. And TICO has no comment as of January 2nd, 2025. These are the standards for the Variance Review Board, Section 2780. And I'm available for any comments from staff if you have any. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, perfect. Hi, good evening. My name is Nirav Patel. I'm the owner of the home at 906 West Plymouth Street. I have been sworn in earlier. So we purchased this home in September of 2024. At that time, the pool and the pool deck were already built out. We quickly realized, we were excessively getting bitten by mosquitoes, and we have a young baby. And myself being a radiation doctor, was quite concerned about the harms of UV radiation, so we started to look into pool cages. And what we came to learn, here's a picture of our backyard. When we had the pool screen guys come out, here on the east side of the pool is kind of offset towards the east side. If we built the pool cage based on city code, there would be minimal room on this side of the pool to actually walk around, and we were concerned about someone falling into the pool, particularly our 18-month-old. So that's the reason I had reached out here to Eric Cotton, who had recommended putting in a variance application. So I'm requesting the bare minimum to match the pool cage with the existing pool deck that's already in place. Like I said, the most significant variance is on the east side, going from a 5-foot setback to a 3.3-foot setback, most notably to avoid that concern about someone falling into the pool. So as part of the public notice, I'd reached out to several of our neighbors. So this is our neighbor directly to the east, Josh Wilson. So he would be the one, where the pool cage would be most closest to his property. And he expressed his support. And then one house over on that east side, Simon Lerner also has expressed his support. Going over to the west side of the property, this is Graham Sowa. He expressed his support of the pool cage as well. And I believe the owners of 910 West Plymouth had uploaded a copy of letter of support as well for the pool cage. So that's the end of my presentation.
You want to submit those into the record?
Yes,
Yep.
Please.
Would the board like to see the letters of support? Okay.
Go ahead. So I have to ask, is there anyone here to speak for or against? Okay. Questions from the board?
In our packet, we have a boundary survey that outlines the trees that border this property, but it's not color-coded. Can we see that slide so we can make the notations on that? And do we have any pictures of what the tree canopy looks like in the area?
So, most of the trees on this site are palms around the perimeter.
Okay.
So I just wanted to put that note on the record to make sure the palms were maintained correctly. There's off-site trees here, across from, this is a 20-foot alley, unimproved. And then there are a few, this is an oak here, an oak here, and an oak here. They're all outside of the project is outside of the protective radius. So they're gonna have to meet the pruning standards no matter what. I'd just like to have that on the record at this time.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that we didn't have a extensive live oak canopy interfering in the space of where the,
So if we zoom in here, you can see the pool here.
yes,
So there's small foliage and limbs around the perimeter, but I want those to be correctly pruned when the pool does go in, so we don't have step cuts along the property lines.
okay, thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, and close public hearing and hear from the board. I'm sorry?
Did you have any rebuttal that you'd like to make after knowing about the trees? No? Okay.
Motion?
Why not? I move that the variance request for case VRB 25-04 for property located at 906 West Plymouth Street be granted as depicted on the site plan presented at the public hearing for a reduction in setbacks on the east side from 5 feet to 3.3 feet, on the west side from 5 feet to 4.9 feet, and on the south side from 5 feet to 4.5 feet for the installation of a pool screen. Based upon the applicant presenting competent and substantial evidence in the record and at this public hearing of an unnecessary hardship or practical difficulty considering the 5 hardship criteria set forth in section 27-80 of the city code, specifically that it is a minimal reduction for a pool screen that will allow enough space around the pool to safely navigate around the pool, and there are neighborhood support, and there is no health or safety issues with this proposed site plan.
We have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? If not, all in favor of the motion as stated signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed likewise? The motion passes.
Thank you.
And unless we have anything else, we stand adjourned.